This is Donnie Lynee, and you are watching The Illest Lines.
What's good, everybody? This is i.AM.DANTHONY, and you are watching The Illest Lines. I appreciate you joining us. Today, I have a friend of mine. You know, we got friends all the time, whether we meet them in person or online. And she just happens to be one person that I met online through a group on Facebook called TMR, The Music Realm. Give it up for Donnie Lynee.
Hey, everybody.
So, when would you say that music started for you, or when did music become you?
I think music became me. So I probably was about 4 or 5 years old, and my mother would play music in the house all the time. She would play music on Saturdays to clean the house, and that's pretty much where it all started.
All right. So, yeah, it was the same way for me as far as with my parents. They would always, play different kinds of music. I grew up on a whole bunch of stuff, throughout my years as well. They would always play, not every single day, but I would say for the most part, especially my dad, when he was playing, making pancakes, he would play jazz. So that was his thing. Yeah.
Jazz and pancakes.
Right. Jazz and pancakes. So who would you say your influences are, major influences, and who do you compare yourself to if you do?
So I don't really compare myself to anybody, but I was influenced by a lot of neo soul and R&B, a lot of soul. So, you got Aretha and Donny Hathaway and Stevie Wonder.
Right.
But then I grew up in the era of Brandy, and was a teenager in the time of Music Soul Child. So I was really influenced by a lot of the soul heavy hitters and the neo soul, hitters, that Erykah Badu and Jill Scott type of stuff. So
right. And to me, I felt like they brought back, especially Erykah Badu and Music Soul Child. I feel like they brought back a certain type of vibe that was really, it couldn't compare to a lot of stuff that was out there at the time,
Yeah.
Especially, I would say, especially with Erykah Badu. She really hit so many different vibes in one sound,
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as everything that you listen to, do you ever find yourself like implementing those sounds into what you do, whether it be writing or vocally?
Yes. So in my writing style, I think that I still have that kind of soulful type of writing.
Right.
I'm evolving, in this season of my life. I'm writing a little bit differently, but for the most part, I would say, yeah.
Oh, okay. And as far as what you feel like you're evolving into, is it something that you feel is a little more personal? Do you feel like you're actually doing your best to write stuff that is more relevant to how you feel now, or is it like something where you reminisce from times before?
I think I always write about what's relevant to my life, like things that you have experienced and lived out. It really never is not a part of your life right now.
Right.
I mean, either like is what you're going through or shaped, where you are. So I would say that I'm definitely writing about things that are relevant to, things that have happened, are happening, and probably that someone else is going through and experiencing, in this season. So.
Right. And I think it's funny too when you say that in regards to like what somebody else is going through. I think we tend to forget, or some people may tend to forget, that people, we're pretty much all the same. When you peel back everything, all the layers and whatnot, we're pretty much all the same in regards to, the things that we feel, how we feel them, why we feel them, you know what I mean? But there are times that I think that whether it be a producer or another, you know, writer is trying to get an artist to like really channel something else that they may not have been through. You know what I mean? So have you ever written anything like that to where you feel like, okay, this may not necessarily be my story, but I think, you know, I can get, like, maybe God can give me the right words to say because I can understand their plight.
Yeah, definitely.
And that to me, I think that makes a good writer. You know, if you're able to do that, you know, you're able to get in touch with something that, you know, may not be so relevant to you, but, you know, you have the feelings for, you have the heart for, you have the soul for. And I think that's part of where, even for myself, I love soul music. Like I've never, not to say that I didn't like anything else, because there was even the time that I used to like heavy metal just because my older brother, you know, always liked it, you know, was always in my ears because of him, you know. But
Right.
There's something about soul music in itself that makes you feel something more than what you may expect. And I think that that's where your style, from what I hear at least, that's where your style for me comes in, because hearing, I mean, I'm Yours, that was one of, I mean, I can't even tell you, like, I mean, I can, but everything that you do just with that song in general was great. Like I loved the instrumentation. I loved the lyrics. I mean, no one, I don't think anyone thought just with the title that, at least to me, it sounded like you were talking about your relationship with God.
Yeah.
So that's on point.
Yeah. I mean, I think being an empath and somebody who really is in touch with their feelings and in touch with other people's feelings helps you to write and helps you to emote.
Right.
To put that stuff down and to write it in such a way that touches people. I think that's an important part of being an artist.
Right.
You know, being able to meet people where they are, with your personal story or with, you know, a story that might not be yours, but maybe someone else's story. And how do you say what you say? How do you, you know, play the instrument? How do you write the lyric, you know, in such a way that it touches a person, you know?
Right. So in kind of going along with those same lines, as far as, you know, what you feel and how you write stuff and you know, whether you make it relevant to yourself, would you say that starting over,
I didn't think that I could find a substance to be done with it, but I did. Starting over. I'm starting over. I'm starting over. I'm starting over, but I did.
is more of a personal story that's relevant to you?
I'll start by saying this. Starting Over was written by Jay Sean Champion.
Oh, okay.
And Jay Sean Champion has written songs for, I mean, some of the greatest singers out there, Grammy-winning singers, you know.
Nice.
And so I contacted him and said, hey, man, I'm going through some stuff and I need you to help me say what needs to be said. So I would have to say that Starting Over was perfectly written for the situation I had gone through. I mean, I remember sitting in the studio with Jay Sean and literally telling him my story, and we're going over line by line, you know, what I should sing, what I should say. And we got to a point where, you know, he was like, are you sure you want to say that? Are you sure you're okay with singing this? Because, you know, some of it, I was actually writing from a place of now. Like back then it was a now thing, and like this is happening now. And so I was crying. I was in the studio like, I gotta. He like, you want to finish this? I'm like, Yeah, we gotta get the song done. So yeah, Starting Over was really a song about something that really happened. It was a real true life story.
Wow. And that, that already is amazing, because I even though I think you may, because when you said the name just now, I think you may have mentioned that he wrote it, and I may have, calculated that in my mind as if he just, wrote the music and whatnot. But that's real. It's real dope to find out that somebody else wrote it, but was able to channel what you were feeling at the time. And, and I gotta say, even though, and I'll definitely get to my favorite line of that song, but I was able to relate to that song, even though towards the end you were saying all my ladies say, but it is, I think a lot of men don't always talk about them going through stuff like that, mostly because, we want to, we're men, we like, why would we talk about it? We don't need to cry.
Right.
I ain't crying,
Right.
But for me, it definitely struck a chord because I went through a divorce in 01, 02. And remembering that kind of basically just brought back like everything that happened, you know what I mean? And knowing that I could say that it wasn't just her fault, wasn't just my fault, it was like, okay, but these points are still relevant to me. So even though she's saying all the ladies say, I'll just switch that to guys, all the fellas,
I mean, yeah, it's relevant to more than just women. It's relevant to more than just relationships too. You can take the song and put it in so many different categories of how you would start over in any given situation. Something ain't working and it don't seem right, it don't fit right, then a lot of times, as adults, as people, we have to really start over.
And sometimes it's difficult to, we get scared, we get caught up in the stress of being able to do that. Sometimes we wonder whether or not we're pushing too hard and starting over. Sometimes we wonder if it's even the right decision, but it's always good to make sure that we step back a minute and focus on, okay, well, what is it that we're trying to start over from, first of all? You know what I mean? And once we get a hold of that feeling and understand, and we can be able to move forward and say, okay, let's take this step by step for a second, And that's kind of what I felt like that song did, even from the beginning, just from the OAO.
Yeah, he's at Ohio.
Oh, is that right? That's funny. Oh, okay. See, this is what happens when people hear lyrics. Like when people said Jimi Hendrix was saying, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy." It's like, we hear different things.
Right.
That's funny. But yeah, all right. Well, still, even with that, it was a nice intro into what you were about to go into. So I got to say, for me, my favorite line, my illest line of this song was the second verse.
I try to fit you to me. I tried to rearrange you, but you just wasn't changing what I expected you to be. It's something you ain't made of. I'm tired of trying to save us.
Yeah.
That.
So now I did help with that line. I did help with that one.
Oh, okay, good.
And he was like, "You won't say that?" I was like, "Yeah, because it's true."
Right.
So, do I need to do the breakdown? Are we doing the breakdown?
Yeah, you could do a breakdown.
Of that line?
Definitely. Yes, please.
Okay. So that line was, about really being in a relationship and things not going right.
Right.
And trying to change the other person, but you're the one that's not happy. You know what I mean? And it wasn't getting me anywhere.
Right.
So how can I try to make him be the person that I need him to be, when that's not who he is? I tried to rearrange him, but he just wasn't changing. Like, you know, the more I tried to get him to do and say and be something that he was not, the more pissed off I was getting, you know?
Right.
And what I expected him to be was something he was not.
Right.
It was something he wasn't made of. He wasn't made of, you know, we didn't share the same values. You know, we didn't share the same belief system. We didn't share so many things that are like the basic foundations of a relationship. And it was like, yo, it's a crack in the foundation. We're going to have to either like tear this building down or keep going and have rats in the house. You know what I'm saying? So this was one of those type of things where it's like, you know, the writing is on the wall. What you going to do now? And tired of trying to save us part was like, I'm tired of trying to mend all the brokenness. I'm tired of trying to be the life preserver for this relationship, for this thing. Like, no.
Right.
I'm not in that place no more. Oh, yeah.
Right. You say life preserver, it made me think of, you know, people being inside of a boat that's sinking and you trying to throw out all the water and they keep putting more water in.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
Or being a lifeguard, you know, like I ain't no lifeguard. I can't carry my weight and your weight. And honestly, you know, when I was in that relationship, I felt like I was drowning, you know? And you can't save somebody and yourself at the same time. Like it's either me or you. And I choose me. Right. We have to put that and make that a priority. You know, we got to put that at the top of the list of things. And if we can conquer that, then everything else becomes easy. Everything else becomes, you know, second nature, you know?
Right. Definitely. And it's a wonderful thing to finally get to a point where you can push the reset button.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like even being at the point where you've received salvation. That's what I related to. You know, one of my best examples that I even give my kids, even my little one, my 10-year-old, you know, is when you're on a flight, if they say something goes wrong with that flight and the oxygen mask come down, who are you supposed to do first?
Oh, first.
Right. And that's kind of the same thing in regards to your marriage. You know what I mean? If you don't give that marriage enough oxygen, you know, enough life, you know, giving element, then what, you know, you can't expect everything else to be good. It's not going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's good to be in a different position. So I'm assuming that you're in a better position now than you ever were then.
Yeah, I am.
That's awesome.
And I'm grateful that, you know, I made the move that was going to make me the happiest.
Right.
And I think that that's super important for people to do. Like, do what's going to make you happy.
Right. And would you say that would basically be like if you had to sum up starting over in one particular sentence, one phrase, would that be what you would say it is, or would it be something a little bit different?
I mean, in terms of where I am now, like the position I'm in now, see, I started over like 2 years ago. So now I'm reinventing myself.
Right.
Starting over was a season, you know, and you stay in the start over phase
right
for a long period of time. That's a short period.
Right.
It's a short and painful period for some people, but it might be a necessary period for folks too. So I was in that and it was perfect for that time. But now I'm in a different place where it's like, okay, reinventing who I am and reestablishing some values and some, you know, core beliefs. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's right. I just remembered that this song was 2018 or 2019?
2018.
Dang. Oof. But still relevant.
Thank you. And you know what? It came out in on New Year's Eve of 2018, going in 2019.
Right.
So, you know, it was an anthem for like all of 2019, but now that it's 2020, you know, I only turn it on every now and then when it's like, okay, I got to do something new. I got to start something new. And it's like, okay.
Right. And that's the other thing too. I wanted to say it definitely is one of those anthem type songs that just it can get people moving. You know, you get into a certain mind frame when you're doing certain stuff like what you were talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what, I need some rocky type music. I need some kind of music that's gonna, like, you know, move me forward, you know what I mean? And I definitely truly believe that that's what this particular song does. And it, like you said, it could be used for, you know, an abundance of different meanings and ways, and I guess whatever it feels closest to the person. For me, like I said, it was closest to me because of the initial meaning behind it, you know, at least what I read into it. But most definitely, and I gotta say, like, again, the music, the harmonies, like there was a part that was not there in the first hook. I think it was the backgrounds that were in the first, that were in the second hook that weren't in the first, you know, and just everything that you did with it, whether it was by your own, you know, mind or by, you know, coaxing of the producer, whatever it was, everything was on point. And I really, I think I will continue liking this song, like, as long as I can. Most definitely.
Well, you gotta give props to Jay Sean Champion, because he is a great vocal arranger and he helped me really bring to life how I was feeling. When I tell you that we sat in that studio and I cried after the first verse was wrote, I was just sitting there like, oh, he really did just say everything I just said to him, but he said it more eloquently.
Right.
You know. Yeah, man. Love on your scribes. Love on your, you know, your translators. It's people out here who have a pen and have a gift to tell the stories of people.
Right. So having said that, in regards to people's pen, what would you say, and this is the last question, what would you say is the illest line that you heard that either made you step up your game as a writer or a singer?
Oh, I would have to say Lauryn Hill had so many lines that were ill.
Yeah.
But I like how she did on That Thing, the way she wrote on That Thing. And the part that I like the most of that was the second verse is dedicated to the men, more concerned with his rims and his Timbs than his women, him and his men. Like the way she wrote that, the way that she articulated, you know, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to, you know, dedicate this portion of this song. And now I'm going to explain X, Y, and Z. Like the way that she does it, I still would say that, you know, I kind of have a flow now. So I'm getting into that. So the part that I was telling you about reinventing myself and evolving, I mean, not even gonna say reinventing, but evolving. I'm getting more back into the lyricism that I used to have when I was younger. So I was more than just a singer. I am more than just a singer. I just don't highlight that as much. And so, you know, in my new stuff that I'm working on, I am definitely getting back to some of my lyricism. I love Anderson .Paak too.
Yes.
And some of his lyricism I like. I don't know if it's because he's a drummer and he can put words to rhythm the way, you know, that he does, but I love it. And I'm some of that. I'm trying to tap into that lyricism, you know, along with the rhythm, in a way that, you know, takes us back to the roots of R&B and hip hop, and really puts us in another place, in this new place of where we are in R&B and hip hop and soul music. So
right, yeah, and I'm hoping that a lot of it, you know, tends to get back to what it used to be. You know, I mean, I guess some people might consider, you know, me an old head now, being 45, but you know, it just that's what we love. You know, that's what we grew up on.
Yeah, and it's what we're getting back to.
Right.
I think get back to the feeling of the music and stop focusing on perfection, because all you're gonna get is a bunch of soulless, you know, words that don't mean nothing. And you know, at the end of the day, they are not long lasting. It's about making somebody feel something. Sometimes singing something off and a little bit wrong is what's gonna hit you in the heart where it need to be, you know. So I like Daniel Caesar. I like her. I like Snow Allegra.
Oh yeah, she's dope too.
All of them dope. All of them.
Most definitely. Well, I got to say, I'm grateful for the handful. There's a handful of them. Well, Donnie, I'm glad that we've been able to finally get to this. You know, I've been wanting to talk about, especially this song, for a while, and you know that's why it hit me kind of odd just now that I realized again that it was 2018. But you know, it was great talking to you about it. I'm glad that you've been able to shed some light on some of the things. Where can people find you, just in case, you know, they're watching this and they don't know how to find you on social media?
They can find me on Instagram, Donnie DONNIE _Lynee LYNEE. You can find me on Facebook, Donnie Lynee Music, and Donnie. Oh, my website is singdonnie.com.
Awesome. And you got more coming out soon. I'm anxious and eager to hear what you got, you know, and I look forward to everything that you're doing.
Thank you, man.